Hello there and welcome to CNR Extra here, coming to you live from studios at number 5, Ola Hansen Lane, Tesano Accra. My name is Philip Nilate. Coming up. Experts weigh in as Ghana considers abolishing death penalty.
So if the law has outlived its usefulness, for the last 30 years we have not used it, why keep it on the study books?
If somebody takes human life just like that, it's for that person also to pay commensurate price.
Angry residents demand action as Santase Aperi Haman Road in the Ashanti region faces deterioration crisis.
Honestly, when it rains, as we are standing here right now, if it rains heavily, no car can go to the other side for the other one to come. It is unfortunate for us. It is creating a whole lot of problems in this community.
GISDEC addresses community concerns ahead of iron ore mining operations in Oti region.
When we are dealing with iron ore mining, because it's a bulk metal, you cannot do, sorry to use the word, galamsey with iron ore mining. It's not possible to do galamsey with iron ore mining.
UMAT students unveil revolutionary electronic power smart wheelchair for mobility challenged individuals.
The objective of our project was to create a system that will help facilitate the conversion of manually operated wheelchairs into an electrically operated one. We did this by the components we used, or we attached our kit at a fractional cost to help mobility impaired people to be able to move around freely.
Once again, you're welcome to CNR Extra here, which is live on Citi TV. You can join us with your thoughts, submissions, and comments via WhatsApp line 0204447033. We're also streaming live on YouTube. You can join us there on CityTube. Hansen Ajiman, you're welcome to the show.
Thank you.
I don't want to ask you how your weekend went because I know we were both here.
I mean, yes, we're here. It was pretty much a good weekend considering Friday to the weekend, $1 million, 300,000 euros.
We'll talk about that. But first, let's go into this story where experts have weighed in as Ghana considers abolishing death penalty.
And as a bill seeking to abolish the death penalty in Ghana is currently before Parliament, Citi News' Eno Safo interviewed various authorities to gather their opinions on the matter.
We have a total of 15,176 inmates. Out of this, we have convicts as 13,436, remand prisoners at 1,294, then trial prisoners at 446. Now, on death row, we have 176 inmates, 176 inmates. So out of this, 6 are female and 170 are male. So that's what we have for now on death row.
On July 26, 2022, the bill proposing the abolition of the death penalty was presented to Parliament and subsequently referred to the Constitutional, Legal and Parliamentary Affairs Committee for consideration. After the committee presents its report, members of Parliament are expected to engage in a debate and vote on the bill. However, during the parliamentary session on Friday, July 14, 2023, the members of Parliament found themselves divided while discussing the amendment of the bill.
2 a.m., an intruder comes into my house. He climbs a ladder. He goes to look for a ladder, then comes into my house, climbs up, breaks open my door and window, then kills me. Or if before then, he would have raped my wife, my partner lying with me. While I'm looking at it, he's raping my wife. Then, as if that is not enough, he takes my life and he kills me. Then this man has human rights. He has a human right. I have no human right. You should come and take my life within 30 minutes. He has truncated me to the next one. I have no right. And he has a right to live.
MP for Medina, Francis Xavier Susu, is one of the proponents for abolishing the death penalty. He argues that although the death penalty has not been implemented since 1993, there is still a risk that it could be used in the future by an oppressive government to target its opponents, as seen in the case of Myanmar.
In most jurisdictions that even retain the death penalty, most often than not, it is a tool in the hand of political opponents that use it to oppress political persons. For example, the current example of Myanmar, right? And they had the law, they stopped using it from 1980. But last year, when there was a military takeover, 4 leaders were executed. 100 others currently are on death row. So people we can easily sleep. So if the law has outlived its usefulness, for the last 30 years we have not used it, why keep it on the studied books?
Amnesty International Ghana, an organization that has advocated for the abolition of the death penalty in Ghana since 1985, highlights that it is a violation of human rights. The country director, Genevieve Partington, emphasizes issues such as prison congestion, lack of fair trial, and the absence of statistical evidence proving that the death penalty reduces or increases crime rates. She appeals to parliamentarians to vote in favor of amending the bill.
Sometimes, even in a way, the families of victims don't even find a sort of, it's not comforting for them, actually. There's been a public opinion poll on families of victims that, where the perpetrators face death sentences. And most of these families actually want the perpetrators to have life imprisonment. I know a lot of people say eye for an eye. Eye for an eye is in the Old Testament of the Bible, thank God. And as Christians and Muslims alike, or should I even put as moralists, we should look at being a more compassionate community, more forgiving, but it doesn't mean when you commit a crime, it shouldn't come with punitive measures. So that is why we are suggesting that we should put life imprisonment in place of the death penalty.
On the other side of the debate, Dr. Harry Agbanu, a senior lecturer at the Department of the Study of Religion at the University of Ghana, opposes the abolishment of the death penalty. He believes it is an appropriate punishment for complex crimes in society.
We should keep it because of how complex crime has become these days. You see, there are reasons for which punishment regimes are instituted. There are goals, there are objectives of every punishment regime. There are basically 3 goals. We have what we call reformation. We have reformation or rehabilitation. We have deterrence. We also have vengeance, restitution. And so, if somebody takes human life just like that, intentionally, in a very crude manner, then that person has created some imbalance in the society. And the only thing that can bring balance back to society is for that person also to pay commensurate price for the crime that he or she has committed. And there is no other punishment for murder that is commensurate than the death penalty.
Citi News also conducted a public opinion survey where individuals expressed varying perspectives on whether or not the death penalty should be abolished.
The law is there. It is not working. So where do they keep it over there? They should scrap it. It shouldn't be there.
My position as to whether we should do away with death penalty. Yes, I think that's my position. We should do away with it. I believe that's the drift now. And it is in fulfillment of a lot of international treaties. Most of them, Ghana have already ratified them. And therefore, just keeping it in a boost that we have death penalties, meanwhile we cannot actually implement it is a bit for me hypocritical.
Being in a global village, gravitating towards establishing and elevating our human rights profile, I think that the death penalty, as discussed and debated, should go. It shouldn't stay in our status books at all, because I think that for 30 years, we've not had the courage to sign any death warrant. It's still in our books because of the uncertainties of the judicial processes and even our crime investigation processes. I think that we should commute it. Where we have death sentences, we should commute it to life in jail. At least that allows the person to be punished the more.
Reverend Dr. Stephen Wingham, a former chair of the Ghana Prison Service Council and the General Superintendent of the Assemblies of God, offers a religious perspective on the matter.
If the state has justifiable laws that demands that, they will not be infringing on the scriptures, because God, according to Romans 13 verse 1 and 2, God establishes authority. And there must be rules also that deter wrongdoing. Of course, in the 10 Commandments, the Bible upholds eliminating human life. That is where one takes the law into your own hands and then decides to kill or murder somebody. So I am pro-life, and I will say that we should expunge it from our law books, and then I go for the life imprisonment, especially if somebody terminates another human life. For that one, we must send a strong signal as a nation that we will not tolerate that.
While there are diverse opinions on the death penalty in Ghana, with Parliament yet to make a final decision, the Ghana Prison Service urges the government to implement reforms that promote a conducive environment in prisons.
For Citi News, my name is Enosafo.
So 2 weeks ago, this issue was discussed or came up on the floor of Parliament. Parliamentarians were divided as to whether the replacing of death penalty with life sentence is the way to go. Well, the MP for Medina and proponent of the amendment, that is Francis Xavier Susu, who appeared on the Point of View show to also discuss this, noted that since the attainment of independence in 1957, Ghana has executed 49 persons, either by firing squad or hanging, and most of these executions mainly happened during the military regime. The current position of Ghana, that is that we are abolitionists in practice. This is so because since 1993 to date, Ghana has not signed a death warrant to execute anyone, and that is very commendable. So the issue most people are raising, that if that has not been done, then that we should now replace it with life sentence. Another argument is, if we are replacing it with life sentence, that means if any issue should happen or someone is being sentenced to life imprisonment, certainly we're going to have a lot more people in our prisons.
I mean, the issue is an important one, and we've reached a point in our history as people that we need to look at this carefully. Now, when the story talked about abolitionists in practice, essentially what it means is that you have the death penalty in your book still, but for a period of 10 years and over, you have not executed anybody, even though somebody had been sentenced. We are being told that we have over 160 persons on death row. Since 1993, we've not. 1993 to 2023 is some 30 years. some 30 years. So in 30 years, and so right to say that we are abolitionists in practice. In our books, what offenses do you have to undertake before death penalty is imposed on you? Murder, that's intentional killing. Genocide, treason. Genocide is when you decide to attack or clear off a substantial number of people of a particular sect or of a particular tribe or religion. And then treason. This is a serious offense against the country. In Ghana, any form of act that you do that seeks to overtake or the government can be construed as a treasonable offense. And if you are found guilty, murder is death penalty is what you are supposed to be convicted with. Now, to be sentenced with. The point here is that these offenses, for instance, the hands of the courts are tied. And so immediately you are convicted, the judge has no option. For instance, in the recent case of the Afoko case, the second accused person, when he was found guilty of conspiracy to commit murder. Now, in our laws, if you engage in conspiracy, the punishment is the same as though you've committed the offense. And so conspiracy to commit murder, it was deemed as though he has committed murder. And so straightforward. Even though his lawyers in mitigating prayer said he's a first-time offender and all those things, the hands of the court is tied to give you death sentence. The point is that at the international level, there's first what we call the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights. Now that first, which was promulgated in 1967, did not in any way abolish death penalty, which Ghana has ratified. What that covenant actually indicated that in countries which have not abolished the death penalty, sentence of death may be imposed only for the most serious crime in accordance with the law in force at the time of the commission of the crime. And so if you look at that ICCPR that Ghana ratified, we limited death penalty to the offenses as I've stated. There's a second covenant which directly abolishes death penalty that the Ghanaian government has not signed yet. And so there's a certain reluctance to take out death penalty away from our books. But the conversation should be broadened a lot. There are those who are bringing the pro-life and the Christianity aspect. But those who are also saying that there are people who perform very heinous crimes, like kill people in very unpleasant ways, so as not to pass judgment on anybody. But I mean, in recent times, we've heard of some killing issues with that could be raised to the issue of murder. And some of the ways in which these people undertake these activities are heartless. And so do you say that these people, we should allow them to leave? And I think that's the argument the people on the other side are making.
And it is so obvious that the argument wouldn't end anytime soon.
Yeah,
because a lot more conversation needs to be done on this.
This actually shouldn't just be a parliament matter. It should be one that rallies the entire nation around. And so beyond the debates in parliament, I mean, it has gone a step beyond the deliberation period and is not considered in parliament. But I think that stakeholder involvement should be broadened. Town hall meetings. Let us have a national consensus that we are moving away from death penalty because we cannot see people die regardless of what offense that they've committed.
Well, it's obvious that the conversation wouldn't end. We will still see what it's going to turn out to be, replacing death penalty with life sentence. But let's move away from this story. And angry residents demand action as Santase Apiri Himan Road in the Ashanti region deteriorates further.
Residents and road users in Santase, Apiri and Himan, located in the Ashanti region, are growing increasingly frustrated with the deteriorating state of their roads. They're threatening to embark on a demonstration if the government does not urgently ensure the resumption of work on the badly damaged road. For months, contractors have abandoned the Santase-Apre-Heman Road project, causing it to further deteriorate. Regular users of the road have attributed numerous crashes and vehicle breakdowns to the terrible condition of the route. Ashanti Regional Correspondent Fatih Aminu Ibrahim reports.
Aggrieved residents of Santase-Apre and Hemai have been voicing their grievances for years, staging multiple demonstrations to press the government to fix their deplorable roads. The intensity of their calls for action escalated ahead of the 2020 general elections, with some commuters even threatening to boycott the electoral process. In response to their persistent demands, the government eventually awarded the road project to a contractor and work commenced with steady progress. President Akufo-Addo, as part of a 4-day tour, inspected ongoing construction works at the time during his tour in October 2022. However, to the dismay of the residents, work on the road has now been completely abandoned, leaving the stretch in an even more deplorable state. Residents and road users are grappling with the difficult conditions brought on by the state of the road, enduring the unbearable dust during the dry season and navigating through the muddy road during the rainy season.
It's been a while since we demonstrated on this road, and for some time the government came to construct some gutters for us as a sort of answer to the demonstration we did. But unfortunately, it's been almost a year, and since then we haven't seen any asphalt on the road after the construction of the gutters. And it is very, very problematic for us, because if you look at these things that we are facing here, cars cannot bypass each other. One will have to wait for the other to bypass, for the other to cross before the other one can also move. And it is becoming unbearable for us. Honestly, when it rains, as we are standing here right now, if it rains heavily, no car can go to the other side for the other one to come. It is unfortunate for us. It is creating a whole lot of problems in this community.
In fact, no maybe cause wa ye ni nye ho kra. Ya driver for no ye hu amane pa. Ese car no spare parts ho no boy ye din. E kwan no amene de dam no. In fact, enye portals o e chen portals. Hwe ukọ apre kwan what do you call Dakun anyway ben amene de dam. Ya to about ye Ghana for. No maybe cause wa in fact e ha dwene say hey abribia ebedu campaign ana wan ba na ye mo be wie ye hu hwe enkofo nyem ye de obi ko ekwa na adane asem obi yare bo so nya problem driver say wan nya say ye ntimi ko afaka hwepka ya ekoi o ntimi ko amena sa.
The situation is compounded by the abandonment of a crucial bridge, cutting off access to a part of the area. During heavy downpours, the area gets flooded, leaving residents stranded and fearing for their safety.
Na omo ye no ma ba ya gates omo ye omo anwie gata ni nyina bubu ama kwan kora menya bi nko mi fie me yo ba kunani me ton ne ma wa manimu enkofo kora nya kwan no ma beto ne mani bi ama me na me ne me makora nya sika to aduane adi ekwa kora nya bi nko efe nsuo nso to a na yira fa ye kuro dada no so ye nya kwan kora na ye di akokuro dada ni mu
yasra na nado pa ye ni biri sampa na na de ye gina ha ye ka no yasra na nado sa village no mo ba ye no nsuo ne to a nya asem keto wo container ha no mu sei ana feeling so am ya be go nti ama nsuo ne yira ye ba ye fie ho no mo ya dam ya hwete sa de ye kwayi nam no yasra na nado pa.
Moreover, residents have raised concerns about a part of the road that appears to have been excluded from the project, urging the authorities to reverse that decision.
As I speak to you today, they did some small portion of the work, and since then they vacated the area. We have been trying to visit them. We go there, they will tell us tomorrow, come, do that. As of today we speak, they decided to cut this part of the road. With the view, the total length of the road is 4.5 kilometers. So for that matter, this is not part of it. Meanwhile, we were part of the documentations. We know very well that this part of the road was part of the document. That is to say, Madamok and Nana Hayford. They decided to neglect that part. We don't know why they are doing that. So we want to find out from the Minister of Roads, through the feeder roads, why have they decided to cut this part of the road off?
In response to the government's inaction, the Landlords Association of Santase-Apre A pre-concerned association and other residents have issued a warning of a massive demonstration if the government does not ensure work resumes on the road as early as possible.
This is one of the most dangerous parts of the route. This particular side of the road has recorded about 5 or 6 accidents. A lot of trucks are falling into this river. Well, we don't have much to say. We have already informed the government and those people concerned. Sooner than later, the type of demonstration that we want to embark here, if the government fails to listen to our plea and do not question the contractor to come by paying the contractor on time to come to site, we may not have anything to say again, but to mobilize our people. We are really serious about it. We have complained severally, they are not minding us. We are appealing to them once again that they should come to our aid.
Residents here are worried that this place is gradually becoming a death trap and want authorities to take urgent measures to ensure that work resumes on the Santase-Apre Road as early as possible. For Citi News, Fatih Amin Ibrahim, Santase-Apre, Ashanti Region.
Issues of deployable roads, every now and then we receive some, and statistics or checks from the Ghana Roads, Ministry of Roads and Highways shows that over 70% of the roads we have in this country are paved. Certainly they are in deployable state, and with the onset of the rains, you have more of them getting deployable, and funds to fix these roads aren't there. Because you visit most of the sites, you ask questions as a journalist, and what the residents will tell you is that, well, a few years ago, the contractor was on site, and our checks with the contractor indicates that we don't have enough funds, or they don't have enough funds to continue with the project. I said, I just don't know, but I think this is becoming one too many, and I don't know how government will fix this.
I mean, from now to 2024, when we enter into the political season, we should be expecting more of these, and a lot more of communities will be coming up to ask for their due. And of course, it is their right to ask for it. They have a social contract with the government.
It's your right to ask for it, and they said there is no money. You're asking your dad for money.
Well,
or for food.
You see, that's the point. You see, you cannot say there's no money. That's one thing. There's the understanding that, of course, that we are limited in funds. That is very basic. But as have been demonstrated over and over, if we are to cut down on a number of things and get our priority right, some of these things can't be done. And so the excuse of there's no money, because these people who are in power, of course, know about the fact that there's no money, but they came with all the promises and said that they can't do it.
And we had some magic in
Kumewa. So I mean, you cannot say there's no money.
But
so
maybe money to fix all these deployable roads.
You see, the media budget review on Thursday, I'm expecting that one of the issues that the finance minister will touch on will be roads, because even some national projects like the Obeche-Bilamte interchange, for instance, like the one around the Teshi area. We've had the beach road. We've had some of these projects stalled, and at a point in time, the explanation we got was because of the negotiations with the IMF and a number of things. We know that the negotiations have been far gone. We've had the program approved. The first tranche has been paid to us, and so it will be my expectation that some of these things will be touched. And again, when we are constructing roads, you see, they constructed a point and left, and when they go back, they have to go and start from scratch again. And all these will be increasing the cost of projects, and so we should be committed to completing projects fully and not do them and abandon them, because it ends up increasing the cost at the end of the day.
So issues with roads, every now and then we have issues with roads, but we hope that government, the various authorities will hit to the cause of especially the Santase Apri-Himan Road. Today, that is the call that is coming from the residents. Tomorrow, it may be another community or another part of the country. You're still watching CNR Extra here on Citi TV, still to come. GISDEC addresses community concerns ahead of iron ore mining operations in the Oti region. Kindly stay with us. We're back with more stories.
Finally, anyone can become a house owner.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You Go Flip, a real estate gaming platform that allows you to play and stand a chance of winning a house or cash or consolidated prizes, such as savings towards a house. Simple and easy to play. Visit www.yougoflip.com. Buy a ticket to enter the game. Wait for the end of the game to enjoy the win. Anyone can win. Flip it or own it. You Go Flip. This advertisement has been vetted and approved by the Gaming Commission of Ghana. Play responsibly, not for persons below 18 years, and gaming can be addictive.
You're welcome back. This is CNR Extra here on Citi TV. Let's bring you some more stories. And management of St. John's, I want government to complete unfinished or uncompleted projects in the institution.
Now, in a heartfelt address during the 70th anniversary ceremony at the St. John's School, Reverend Father George Edriao Ansa, the headmaster, expressed deep concern over the non-completion of two major GET Fund infrastructure projects for the school, which have been abandoned since 2011. He revealed that this unfortunate situation is severely impacting the school's capacity to increase enrollment. Despite its Category A status and attracting a large number of BECE applicants, St. John's School is unable to admit a sizable number of students due to the lack of adequate infrastructure. Our correspondent in the Western region is Akwesi Nim, and he's been bringing us details from Sekondi.
Founded on January 27, 1952 by the Roman Catholic Church under the visionary guidance of the late Archbishop Porter, St. John's School began with an initial class of 47 students. Initially situated temporarily at Anafo in Sekondi, the school witnessed a significant growth in infrastructure and teaching aids with the arrival of the Holy Cross Brothers in 1957. In addition to 8 mainstream secondary school programs, the school also houses a seminary for the training of Roman Catholic brothers. Over the years, St. John's School has earned a well-deserved reputation as a respected second cycle institution in the Western region and nationwide, boasting a consistent 100% pass rate in the WASSCE. Reverend Father George Iduayao Ansa, the headmaster of the school, speaking on the theme of the 70th anniversary, celebrating 70 years of impactful Catholic training of the boy child, the St. John's experience, proudly mentioned the school's contribution to nurturing professionals such as Ghana's foremost psychiatrist, Dr. Kwesi Osei, the managing director of Anglo-Good Ashanti Ghana, Eric Esubontin, as well as celebrated musicians like Pastor Joe Bichem and Shasha Mali, while acknowledging the valuable support from the school's alumni and individuals like Dr. Justice Amo of Jasmore Construction. The headmaster passionately appealed to the government to prioritize the completion of the abandoned GET Fund projects, which are adversely affecting student admissions.
GET Fund
has 2 stalled projects in the school. They are a 6-unit classroom block and an 8-unit staff accommodation. Records available indicate that the 2 projects commenced in 2011, but the contractors abandoned them at a near 60% completion. This project, when complete, will go a long way to address some of the classroom and accommodation needs of the school.
Following the abandonment of this Get Farm project here on the St. John's campus, the structure is already experiencing some deterioration due to the abandonment. Today, the regional minister has given his assurance to ensure that these projects are completed.
St. John's will keep moving from one level to another. Like the headmaster requested, that Get Fund schools have stalled. I want to assure you, last month we passed the Get Fund formula. And our first priority as a government, I want to assure you, is to complete all uncompleted structures in the Western region for this year. So we have been covered.
The global president of the Old Student Association of St. John's School, Joe Honey, expressed gratitude for the numerous contributions they have made to the school's progress, while also urging the alumni to step up and do more for their alma mater.
We have come a long way since our humble beginnings on Acapulco Hills, but our journey is far from over. Let's continue to support St. John's School.
The celebration also honored hardworking staff members and outstanding students who received various prizes and citations for their dedication and achievements.
After 70 years of contributing to developing the workforce of this country's development, management of St. John's are saying that with the right support in terms of infrastructure needs, they are committed to continue with the work they are doing over here. For Citi News, I'm Akwesi Jenim, Second D.
So this is also another issue of uncompleted project, and this is in a senior high school. Hanson, before we went on break, we were talking about projects being commenced, and at a point it's not being completed, goes back, deteriorates, and when we are supposed to start them or come back to them, we have to now spend all huge amounts of money on the project before we complete. This is just a typical example in the St. John's institution, where from 2011, a facility that is supposed to serve students has been abandoned for that number of years.
I can bet you that when you go to a number of schools, you would find
more
similar projects that have started for an average of about 4 to 5 years and have not been completed. And I mean, we've always talked about the congestion issue, one which has been caused by increase in enrollment as a result of the free senior high school. We know that government has undertaken certain projects in certain schools as part of processes of increasing the infrastructure strength of these schools. But of course, a lot of schools will ask for more. And for most of these category A schools, a lot more people want to go to some of these schools. I mean, I know a couple of friends who went to St. John's School, very fine brains, that they trained there. And so it's important that government puts emphasis on some of these schools and make sure that some of these projects are completed in earnest.
Yeah. Because if they are not completed, it goes a long way. We are also supposed to push in more funds to get them completed in the near future. Away from this story, and some angry youth in Asogore Mampon in the Ashanti region, they attacked the Asokwa police station following the death of their colleague. Let's bring you that insert.
Some angry youth in the Asokore Mampon municipality of the region have attacked the Aswasi police station following the death of their colleague. The youth, according to information available to Citi News, are alleging a young man was picked up by the police officers during a swoop at a hideout and was manhandled, which led to his death. The youth, in response, stormed the Aswasi police station and reportedly pelted the station with stones and vandalized other properties in the building. Assembly member for Aswasi West electoral area, Gideon Okan, has been speaking to Citi News.
The Aswasi police station is opposite my house. And I heard a lot of guys, a group of guys throwing stones into the police station. So I called the police patrol officer in Askrama municipality or the airport commander to come here to make sure that things are calm here. When you enter the police station, you can see there's a lot of damages, destroying properties in the police station, destroying the meter and other stuff. So the reason is that they are accusing the police that the police have killed their friend. But upon interrogating some of the police personnel here, they told me that it's not like that. It is not like that. It's not hard. So the police didn't kill their friend. But they are here accusing the police that the police have killed their friend. That's why they have come here to retaliate. Throwing stones, throwing so many items, gadgets and other stuff to destroy roofing sheet, destroy the meter and everything in the police station. In fact, that's the reason why I called the police patrol officer to be here so that Cam will be here. That's why I called.
So the update for this particular story is that the family of the 34-year-old man whose death led to the attack on the Asawasi police station is insisting that the deceased was manhandled by the police officer or by police officer leading to his death. And what we understand right now is there is heavy police presence at the Asawasi police station following the attack at the facility yesterday.
I mean, first and foremost, we need to condemn the attack on the police station. If anything at all, there are several ways of going about this without attacking the police station. I mean, if you go to the youth in Asawasi and we talk about development, they'll be talking about certain areas that they want government to develop for them. Now, you've attacked and destroyed the police station. Money that could have been used for other things will be used to address this. On the issue of the allegation, I mean, this isn't the first time you're hearing of such complaints. My issue really is not even about the veracity or otherwise of these complaints, but my point has to do with how the police hierarchy has dealt with these complaints in time past. Usually we just hear of the complaints and you don't hear of any proper response from the police or any form of proper interrogation into the matter by the police. And so all of these, this puts a certain perception in the minds of people. I mean, if you ask about 5 Ghanaians to give you their view of how the police officers treat suspects, they would, about 3 would go to the fact that police officers do not treat suspects well. And I mean, you might have had an encounter with police officers and how some of them go about with their activities. And so the police hierarchy should be interested in this. I mean, in our constitution, even when you remand somebody who is undergoing trial, if that person is not convicted, our constitution mandates the system to make sure that you are not put together with those who have been sentenced. And so if you catch me today for something and you remand me, the Constitution by Article 19 mandates that you separate me from somebody who has been sentenced for stealing, somebody who has been sentenced for robbery or whatsoever. And sometimes people are just in police, a matter has just been reported. The person has been invited to the police station and hears stories of how police officers treat some of these people. It's important that the police hierarchy, case by case, investigate those matters, bring their findings out. If their officers are right, let us know. If the officers are wrong and disciplinary measures ought to be taken, or even in some instances, criminal actions ought to be taken against those officers, let it be done and let the public know of that. But generally, I think that the police hierarchy should be interested in the officer-citizens relations and how police officers would treat citizens with some level of civility.
Rightly so. In recent times, we've had issues with the police civilian or citizens relationship that has gone bad. But when the IGP came, Dr. Ekufu Dampare, he says that he's going to ensure that this particular relationship is strengthened. So I think that this issue will be taken keenly by the appropriate quarters and the needed sanctions or whatever has to go into it will be done. But away from this story, the Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation, that is GISDEC, has addressed community concerns ahead of iron ore mining operations in the OT region.
The Ghana Integrated Iron and Steel Development Corporation, GISDEC, has responded to concerns raised by residents in iron ore deposited areas within the OT region, assuring them of strict adherence to regulations during the upcoming mining operations. Volta Regional Correspondent Desmond Selasiago has more.
The discovery of substantial iron ore deposits in Akpafu, Akrokowa, and other communities in OT region holds immense potential for the region's development, with an estimated 500 million tons of iron ore expected to be mined. This mining project is expected to boost steel production in the country and create employment opportunities for the local population. However, some residents expressed apprehension about potential adverse effects on their livelihoods and environment due to mining activities. They emphasized the need for responsible mining practices and requested that the community's well-being and property be safeguarded during the process. Furthermore, they sought assurance that local community members will be given priority in employment opportunities once mining begins.
We'll be hearing what is happening in Ghana as a whole. You know, when these ones come to Ghana to come and do this type of crop, normally when they come, they don't even bother we those who live in the environment. They do whatever they do, and you are talking to them, they will never even listen to you. That is our fears. That is our fear. Thinking that they will come, they may not go according to what we will tell them.
In response, Director for Corporate Affairs and International Relations at GISDEC, Nasrullah Abdullah, assured residents that the corporation will engage with the communities to address their concerns before commencing mining operations.
When you are to undertake such an important exercise such as iron ore exploration and mining, there will be concerns around the environment. But it is for us to go down to the people to let them know that when we are dealing with iron ore mining, because it's a bulk metal, you cannot do, sorry to use the word, galamsey with iron ore mining. It's not possible to do galamsey with iron ore mining. Because unlike gold where you need water to wash the gold and all of that, in the case of bulk metal, you don't need water to wash it.
Additionally, Fui Gameli Segbeji, the Deputy CEO of Strategy and Investor Relations of GISDEC, confirmed that residents in the identified mining communities will be equipped with mining skills to enhance their employability during the mining process. He also emphasized the corporation's commitment to prevent illegal mining or galamsey in the area.
One of the first challenges is that because of the negative impacts mining as a whole has gotten within the past couple of years, gives us a lot of questions in that environmental regard as to whether galamsey and things would go on here. And those have been adequately addressed, that these are bulk metals, they are not precious metals, and then we don't envisage those activities in relation to iron ore exploration.
Iron ore mining in the OT region, that is good news. But Hansen, you could tell from the concerns of the residents is, are you going to develop the area? Are our lives going to be at risk? Are we going to have employment? And these are the concerns that a lot more residents in mining communities raise. But when the exercise begins, then it turns out that the promises are not fulfilled.
I mean, we need to get this right from the onset. There's the GISDEC Act, which establishes the corporations and gives functions to the corporation. Now, amongst the functions of the corporations is that they have to ensure the participation and integration of Ghanaians in technical and managerial functions of the integrated iron and steel industry. And so their functions are well outlined in this particular act, which also includes making sure that the mining leads to substantial development of the communities that the mining is being undertaken. And we need to make sure that we get this right from the onset. I mean, we've had the examples from Obuasi where there have been constant agitations because the residents, rightly so, believe that they are not getting their response yesterday I was watching a documentary of the oil exploration in Nigeria and the activities of some pirates. Now, these are local pirates, and because they say that they are not benefiting from the oil exploration, they formed a group of pirates that actually capture expatriates on sea and kidnap them, take ransom, steal their monies. And they were speaking of it boldly because they think that they've not enjoyed anything from the exploration. And if you want to avoid some of these things, if you do not want to get to that level, when it comes to exploring natural resources, we need to be guided and make sure that that local content policy that we talk about always is not only said, but actualized within the community. Let every single person, if you're mining, the mining company should have a school within the neighborhood. Let the children go to school at a subsidized price. Part of the dividends from the mining should be directed towards that. The men and women within the area should get employment.
And even boost health and other things, roads, infrastructure, amongst other things.
It should translate to the people buying from traders within the community. Everybody enjoys, and then the roads are good. It will be good. And if it is sustainable mining that will not affect the environment. I love the Volta region. I love the OT region because of the greenery. And if we cannot mine it sustainably, that will keep the beauty of it. I don't think it's worth it.
Rightly so. So what Gisdek has said, you have addressed all the concerns, but then again, it has to materialize when the operations commences. Let's bring you more after this break. You're still watching CNR Extra here on Citi TV. Still to come. UMAT students unveil revolutionary electronic power smart vehicle or wheelchair for mobility challenged individuals. And let's stay with us. We're back with that story.
Get ready to witness a remarkable fair to showcase the rich diversity, talent, innovation, and mastery of made in Ghana products and services with the This is Ghana Exhibition 2023. Citi TV and Citi FM will allow you to immerse yourself in a vibrant showcase of authentic Ghanaian products and services in the biggest trade fair and exhibition for local SMEs, startups, research and manufacturing industries, homegrown businesses, and indigenous corporate bodies Ghana has ever seen. We shall promote, support, and patronize various Ghanaian products, solutions, and services that are redefining the views on indigenous products and their packaging across all sectors. Join us at the Accra Metropolitan Assembly on the 26th and the 27th of August 2023 at 10 a.m. through till 5 p.m. each day. Call us now on 0205-973-973 for inquiries on how to participate. The This is Ghana exhibition is powered by Citi TV and Citi FM and proudly sponsored by MTN Momo.
You're welcome back to CNR Extra here on TV. Let's bring you some more stories. And a team of students of the University of Mines and Technology, they have unveiled a revolutionary electronic-powered smart wheelchair for mobility challenged individuals. Let's bring you that insight.
Breaking achievement, a team of students from the University of Mines and Technology, UMAT, has developed an innovative way, electronic-powered plant smart wheelchair for individuals with mobility disabilities. Now, this remarkable creation was recently unveiled at the 7th UMAT Innovation Competition and Career Fair held in Takwa. Elizabeth Echampon, the team lead of the winning project, spoke with Citi News' Akwesi Ejenim, expressing the team's motivation to provide enhanced independence to individuals facing mobility challenges.
Traditionally focused on mining technologies, the UMAT Innovation Competition and Career Fair took a different turn this year by featuring a diverse range of innovations aimed at addressing everyday societal concerns and improving quality of life. After a careful evaluation of 23 project entries, the competition shortlisted 10 promising contenders. Ultimately, the top prize was awarded to the electronic-powered smart wheelchair project specifically designed for health facilities and individuals with mobility disabilities. The second place spot was claimed by an impressive project focusing on an automated railway level crossing system. Elizabeth Echampon shared the team's inspiration for developing the electronic-powered smart wheelchair, emphasizing the importance of granting mobility-impaired individuals a sense of independence.
The objective of our project was to create a system that will help facilitate the conversion of manually operated wheelchairs into an electrically operated ones. We did this by the components we used, or we attached our kit at a fractional cost to help mobility impaired people to be able to move around freely without the help of anyone, thereby creating the independence among the mobility impaired people in the community. So our wheelchair came along with 3 controller options. We had the remote control, the joystick control, and the smart.
Innovation and creativity is what we see in here. So at least if some support can be given by government, because I think we have fine brains in this country, that if much support is given, Charlie, we will excel. Because if they are able to unveil a revolutionary electronic-powered smart wheelchair, that's a way to go.
I mean, it's brilliant what they've done, and the idea of smart chairs exists. But what they've done is localize the solution, and not for you to go looking for an expensive wheelchair, but do an attachment to your normal wheelchair for it to be smart. There was a representation from the NEIP, and I'm sure that they don't have to wait for them. Sometimes when we see brilliant ideas like this, we have to go for them and escalate it. I mean, now there's artificial intelligence. With the right training, they can attach artificial intelligence, make it big, solve a situation, and create employment.
Rightly so. And this is how we end today's edition of CNR Extra here on Citi TV. My name is Philip Nilata. I did this with Hansen Ajiman. Many thanks for your time, as always. And keep watching Citi TV.